college, I did ceramics, watercolor, terrible watercolor, terrible. So that's a heavy, hard art. Hard to make something look, you know, something other than a big bunch of brown paint that's all run together on a sheet of paper. It's what you get when you combine all the colors, either gray or brown. And the paper would wrinkle, all the wet stuff. I was like, well, what fun is this? So I got into ceramics. I really got huge into ceramics. But you know what I really liked was glaze formulas, colors again. I love coming up with different colors from chemical combination. I mixed. The powders were usually white, but when you would fire them, they'd be bright blues and greens and yellows and reds. If you had a little gold powder in it, it turned out red. So the colors fascinated me. Then, of course, I became an adult and had to work, and art kind of took a backseat as kind of sort of a hobby. You know, just playing around with it. I had my own little kiln and would make little pots and stuff, and broke most of them up with a hammer. Now, how I got started in light sculptures is a fascinating story. It wasn't that many years ago, probably less than 15. A local nun who's actually well known and a well-known painter, watercolorist, as a matter of fact, and gets 2,000 on up for her watercolors. She's a very good artist, abstract mostly. But she was getting up there and she was retiring from her art. And she knew some of us who we were in a local art colony, and she got in touch with us, said she was selling on a lot of her art stuff. Were we interested? So we went over to the convent. We walked into the foyer, and the next thing I remember is somebody saying, "Oh, are you coming?" And I looked around. They said, "You've been back here for 10 minutes. We went on without you. Didn't, you know." I said, 10 minutes? They said, "Yeah, you've been." Well, for 10 minutes, I had been staring at this thing up in the rotunda of the foyer. There was some little pieces of glass, and the sun was coming in and throwing these little pastel shards of wonderful colors on the wall. So I said, "Who made that? What is that? What kind of glass is that?" And they didn't know. They just said, "Well, some fella did the art cathedral area with some big glass panels, and he said that if we paid our bill in like two payments or three payments, he would give us a little light painting up in the foyer to catch the natural light." And again, it was just 3 or 4 pieces. And I was just blown away. Isn't it interesting to see something that people just walk by, and I was just blown away. So I said, "Can I come back?" You had to get permission to be back there in the convent, you know, let people roam around in there. And I said, "Can I come back?" And they said, "Sure." So I came back and just stared at it some more. This is wonderful stuff. I've just got to be involved with it. You know? I wasn't thinking about making money. I was just thinking about making art, beauty. I'd never seen anything so beautiful. Obviously, I was fascinated. So, yeah, I started looking up dichroic glass and eBay, and I bought shards of glass and bags of broken glass, and you name it. Just having a bag of dichroic glass of different colors was just fascinating to me. I just play with it, hold up the light, and, put it on a white surface with a flashlight, and just dinking around with it. Well, a lot of artists like that, You dink around, you experiment, trial and error, and so forth. It took me probably about 10 years to develop my craft. I remember my first exhibit was, I got pictures of it, I'm not going to show them to you. But yet, even though it was pretty pathetic, when people came around the corner, and of course I had a little side dark room, the first thing they'd say was, wow. And people still to this day. So even that sorry exhibit that I had, two big old sheets of 4x8 whiteboard and, some glass nailed and two big halide lamp or halogen lamps and, slanted on the floor. People still went, wow, well, that was all I needed to put extra fuel in my tank. So you just keep working at it. One day, I had enough money and had enough contacts to start having someone make my own special glass. You could buy it from 3M, but you had to buy like 200 sheets at, like $500 a sheet or something. But I found somebody to make it for me, and then everything changed when I started making my own glass and having it made my way. So we're here at Manowski's Welding, and we're going to get some glass cut. Should be fun. Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah, that is neat. That is really some cool stuff.
That is amazing.
Beautiful. Well, I can see why you want to keep it a secret. Definitely. Well, that's cool stuff.
So this is what's called dichroic glass. And if you look real close, you'll see that there's two layers of glass and a piece of dichroic film. And you probably can't tell it, but as you change angle, it changes colors. from yellow to lavender to purple to blue. And I just have these cut in half moons or triangles, but I have them all cut in different shapes. It's quite expensive, cut by the inch. The glass is not cheap. I learned to drill it myself and polish it myself. It takes a great deal of time. But again, it's a labor of love, and it's fascinating to me. So then it's a matter of just trial and error. And as you can see from behind me, some examples of light sculptures, how fascinating they are. And they're a lot better than the first ones I made. I just finished installing one in a very nice home overlooking the Atlantic in Palm Beach, Florida. And stayed there with them for 3 days. It took to install this piece, but I've been developing here in my studio and laying it out on the floor and then, getting the right configurations. And I've had to buy a special lamp, have it developed. It's environmentally conservative, uses only 5 watts of energy and LED light. A 6% focus, a lens I've specially made to create a very tight white beam, which really does all the work, once again. And it was light, and it was good. And so again, you're seeing behind me several examples, including the one that I just did in Palm Beach. And I'll try to put that back behind me just as I'm saying Palm Beach. It was quite a success, and people really loved it. And I'm going to tell you something. I am petrified when I make one of these. Absolutely petrified. And I made it over 100. And I just am scared to death that it's not going to turn out right. Because there's just so many little different 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch there. And you just wonder, and then you tighten it down, it changes everything because it's that precise, So you try to set it up back in your studio, and then you try to replicate it on the wall. Actually, what you do is you put it on your floor in the studio. You put it on a piece of paper, and you mark everything. Then you you pack it all up in a special case with foam rubber. Couldn't believe they let me on the plane with all the sharp-edged glass, but they did. Then you get there and you lay it on their floor and duplicate it. Make sure you duplicate it again. You take it from the floor, put it up on the wall, and it's going to be the same. And it's a challenge. And sometimes, I'll be honest, it's not. But it might even look better. So you tinker around with it after you get up there in general. You know how you want it. And those are light sculptures. A beam of light in dichroic glass. Then put her up and watch everybody say, wow. 95% of people say wow. 5% say another 4-letter word. That means the same thing. I don't want to repeat here.